guys, it's Martin Motivation. Welcome to Martin Inspires. While you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Mod Fam. Today we're going to be discussing singlehood, singleness, how to thrive and enjoy your single season. This is a topic I've been wanting to discuss because I feel that your single status, or your relationship status, almost defines a woman, especially in the Christian circle. It has a lot to do with your worth and your value. And I wanted to have a conversation on this, just breaking some of the stigmas that come with being single and how young Christian single women can thrive and find purpose and not be so desperate during this season. Joining me is Naomi Shongo. She's an absolutely incredible woman of faith who has her own podcast, inspiring and encouraging women of faith there. So Naomi, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I think we're super excited about this conversation. Two Christian single women, so excited to talk about being single. It's very rare. How has your single season been? How are you feeling? Because you're single right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Single.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling? How has it been?
Yeah, for me, I would say my single journey has been more of like a journey in a sense. It's been more of a just self-discovery, if I was to be honest, because like at the start, like I think for me, I haven't considered myself single for a very long time, in the sense that, you know, sometimes like if you're looking for something, like until you're looking for that thing, you don't really consider it. So I would say I've only considered myself single for like the past 3 years or so. And growing up, no one told me that like, oh, you have to be married at a certain age or whatnot.
Yeah.
For everyone's focus around me was like, Naomi, face your books, you know,
that's good.
do this and that. Like really focus on yourself. And I was even told by a close relative of mine that the importance is that you find yourself before you marry, that you bring something into your marriage. Like if that means getting an education, whatever, like some people, they might not go the education route, but they have businesses and stuff like that. You know, some people have their own purpose of how they pursue their life, basically. So I was told, like, focus on finding yourself first and making something of yourself. And then afterwards, marriage, it's going to come. And I've always seen it as part of life, not a priority. Do you know what I mean? Like, even when I would go, even when I would go to church, for example, I would hear preaching. Like, I didn't take it as like someone telling me, oh, you have to get married. It was like more of, most of the preaching I've heard is kind of like, this is what you should do. So you should choose the right partner. You should do this. Like, that was how I saw it. So for me, it was just not a priority. Like when other people were really focused on marriage, like I was in my late teens when I kind of realized that, oh yeah, I'm kind of getting to that age, so I might meet someone, whatnot. But like all through my teens, I never considered myself single. I was single, but I didn't consider it. It wasn't like a big deal. And then when I got to my 20s, that's when I was kind of like, yeah, I think I'm single. Yeah, but I just, it wasn't a focus.
Why do you think so much emphasis is placed on marriage, especially for Christian women? And it's almost like it's tied to a woman's purpose. A woman's purpose is to stay at home and take care of the kids or cook and clean. Why is there so much emphasis on marriage as opposed to just being a young adult and getting an education and growing up and learning how to be responsible, you know?
Yeah, for me, I think the emphasis maybe comes from society and culture. Because if you think about it, not everyone sees marriage that way. Some people, you meet some people, like they'll be so focused on themselves first, even though they know it's going to happen, but they're just not focused on it. But I think with time, people have just got into this headspace where marriage is the end game. And for me, I've always believed it's not really the end game.
Yeah, like, not at all.
It's a natural thing for someone to get to a point in their life, even as a Christian woman. I know it's a natural thing at some point where you'll desire to be with someone else. And for me, it was like, at some point, it's going to happen.
But you had so much faith in that's going. You have so much faith in that's going to happen. I mean, but the reality is that being single, you're not sure. It's not like 100% set in stone that you're going to meet somebody. So how do you deal? So like from what I'm hearing, you don't have that fear, which is quite odd. Because even sometimes I have that fear, even though you have the desire to, you know, be with somebody.
Yeah, like you say, I'm a Christian. Like I consider myself a Christian woman, you know, and the way I was brought up, I think over time, you see, everybody's just so different the way they see life, right? For me,
Right.
I have a character where when I look at other people, I'm like, the way you think is a bit not normal because where everybody else, for example, would be panicking about life, I'm very chill about it. And I'm just like, it's
Mm.
fine. Do you know what I mean? But I think it just with time, especially at this age that I'm in, like I still feel I'm young, but at this age that I'm in, it's more of a thing of when you go through certain stuff, you learn to lean on God more. And you just know that, like,
Mm.
listen, if I'm a child of God, at the end of the day, everything will be provided in its
Yes,
time. Do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
So I
Yeah,
try my best not to really worry about it. Like it's normal to see people maybe get engaged or whatnot. But
exactly.
the issue I think is when we focus so much on other people. You're like, oh, so and so got married. I need to
Yeah.
get married too. And I think that's even where, like, back to the whole emphasis thing, I think that's where a lot of people put so much pressure on it because, for example, parents want their kids to marry, and then
Mm.
maybe someone saw so and so got married, so they want to get married. Or for some people, they put like a limit on themselves. So they're like, by a certain age, if I'm not married, then like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's where
Yeah.
the whole, for me, I think it's just people have put unnecessary struggle on themselves for no reason, especially when it comes to the issue of marriage. Because for
Mm.
me, I always believe it's a natural part of life. And as a woman of
Right.
faith, I know it's going to happen at some point rather than me constantly worrying, like, oh, when is it going to happen? You know what I mean? And God has his perfect
Mm.
timing. And when people
Mm.
go ahead of God's plan, I feel that's where the
We
issue
run
is.
into trouble. Yeah.
Exactly. And trust me, like, I have no time for trouble. You know what I mean? Like, if there's one
Yeah.
thing I fear, is
I feel
trouble.
the church
Yeah.
doesn't place emphasis on the reality
Mm,
of a marriage and what entering into a relationship consists of. If we did that,
exactly.
most
Because,
people would be
yeah.
more, think carefully before entering into it.
Mm. For me, like I noticed the better and the worst part. And I was like,
Mm.
if you all took your time, yeah, if you all really saw that better for worse, you won't be
Mm.
rushing into it
Yeah.
at all.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Like I believe marriage is like a point of no return in a sense. Like
It
we
is,
believe
girl. It
when
is.
when you
Please say that it
marry,
is.
when you marry, it's till death us depart, you know. I don't know if I said
We're
exactly
locked
how they
in,
say
and
it, but
especially for us in the message, like there is no
mm,
escape. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
like
And a
yeah,
lot
and
of
it's
people are
cool.
stuck.
Exactly. And like once you're in it to stay. And that's the scary part as well. I think a lot of people don't realize. Like you're in it
Right.
to stay. So imagine you choose the wrong partner already, and then you have to stay with this person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there's some decisions that sure you can go your own way and make your own decision if you want to, like,
Exactly. There's so much beauty in this season that people need to
yeah.
realize.
Like
You
you
can
can
be
go your
selfish
own
all you
way.
want. Yeah, you can make your own
Mm.
decisions. You can get up today and go on this trip, a trip to Norway for all I care. No one will disturb you. Your money's your money, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's one thing I discovered myself. Like, it's that moment to actually love yourself. That's the single period for me. Because in that period is all, you know what you like. You realize what you like and what you don't
Exactly.
like. And
Yeah.
even in the partner, you're going to realize, oh, I don't like this. Like, I like this,
Exactly.
but I don't like this. If I
Exactly.
marry a
That's
guy,
true.
if I marry a guy that's like this, I don't think I'll
I
be
don't
able to like stay.
exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I have to stay because they tell me to stay, but at the same time, for me, I've never. That's why I would say like it's important to really just take your time, right? Because if you make the wrong choice, like you said, as message believers, we believe you have to stay in it. So imagine you're staying with that wrong person forever,
Girl.
and there's some situations that are very extreme that I wouldn't go into, but there's a lot of women as well, and maybe brothers as well. But there's a lot of women that experience so many, stuff
Domestic
in
violence,
marriages.
let's call it.
So they experience so much stuff. And then for me, to be honest, like being African and precisely Congolese,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
My people are going to know where I'm going with this, but some people are advised like to hold everything in to deal with it. Like you're married,
Yeah.
deal with it. Do you know what I mean? So
And
already
imagine you're
when,
like 19 or 20.
yeah, like for me, that's why I say always take your time because like I understand like people at some point are going to be like, oh, when are you going to get married or like this and that.
Mm.
But the thing I would say, you see that shame that they're putting on you for not being married at whatever age it is, that's going to be the same shame they're going to put on you when you're talking about how bad your marriage is.
Exactly.
when I
That's
got
so
that
true.
realization, I said, I'm going to take my time.
Girl.
I'm going to take my time because today I could decide to get married because so-and-so said I should be married. And then once I'm married, the same person is going to be laughing at me.
It's not even that hard to, number one, meet somebody. Meet someone good, yes, it might be hard, but meet somebody and get married. I mean, it's not that hard nowadays. Go to the courthouse and, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and for me, I say, Naomi, if you marry the wrong person, the same people that are laughing at you for being single are the same people that are going to laugh at you when you marry that wrong person and you're suffering in your life. They're going to be like, you know what I mean? And sometimes we need to be real.
And I think what is so beautiful is that you're giving advice as a single woman yourself. So it's not like, you know, how married people say, enjoy your single thing. I mean, like, please, girl, you're a married woman, you know? But we're both single, we're both, you know, encouraging young women to take advantage of this season, to find purpose, find themselves, not rush into it. But what's your advice again for the young woman who feels desperate, who feels that pressure, she can't even breathe? Okay, she can breathe, but, you know, her whole focus, her thoughts day and night is, I need to meet this person, I need to meet this person, you know? What's your advice for her?
Yeah. For me, I would literally say, be patient. Like, you need to ask yourself why you're so desperate to get married in the first place.
I think, sorry to cut you off, I wanted this to be more of a conversation than a Q&A, you know? I think a lot of people, I even had to even check myself, like, why do you actually want to get married? I think a lot of people don't ask themselves why. Is society pushing me, or my parents pushing me? Do I want companionship? And a lot of people, especially young women, you know, want to go into a relationship to find healing, to find, you know, to find someone who will complete them, as opposed to
happiness.
Happiness, yes. So what's your message to that young woman who's feeling this way?
For me, honestly, I'll be very honest. I know some people are like, what? But you won't find happiness in marriage. And that's on period.
Yeah.
Because it depends on the choice you make. Like, if you marry a lovely person, of course you're going to be happy. Like, sis, come on. But if you marry someone that, like, it's not good for you, you won't find happiness and you're going to be miserable. Like, you're just going to wish you made another choice. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's important just to take your time. Find joy with being by yourself. Like, what, you know, I think it's dangerous. I think it's a little bit dangerous for people. Like, it's dangerous when a young woman or even a single man, but especially a young woman, finally finds their purpose outside of marriage, because it's going to be like, nobody can force them. They're like, no, I'm not going nowhere. Like, you know, nobody's going to force me to get into it, because they already know that I could be happy by myself. So I need someone that's going to add like a +1, not take away.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing, they're supposed to add for me, not take away. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm already happy by myself, why would I choose the wrong person and suffer? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, I would say, ask yourself why you want to get married. To be honest, like, even to go back to the fact that if you're getting married for pressure, like I said, the people that are telling you to get married, let's be real. Like, you know, sometimes people say to you, oh, but you need to be married first for you to know. But I'm like, listen, I can hear enough advice.
We've seen, we've heard, it's been told.
Yeah. And you know, some people will be like, oh, you have to be in it. I'm like, no, sometimes you don't have to be in it. You don't have to be exactly. You don't have to be in an abusive relationship for you to know how it feels.
Exactly.
If somebody told you, for example, I heard like an example where a young lady was having doubts before she got married. She didn't want to get married, but she's already having doubts. And then she just went along with it because she's like, I've gone this far. Do you know what I mean? I might as well.
And a lot of sisters, you know, face that. I've heard that a lot.
And at the end of the day, she wasn't happy in the marriage, but she chose not to listen to her feelings. So imagine someone like that came to me and said, listen, Naomi, if you're getting doubts, don't do it. Why won't I listen to them? Why would I listen to them? Sometimes we make life hard for ourselves. Like, we're like, no, I don't want to listen to this person, whatnot. And sometimes, you have to go through certain things for you to know how it feels. But sometimes you have to apply intelligence. You know, somebody tells you something. Sense. And you have to just say, okay, like, she said she was having doubts. And if you find yourself in a relationship where you're having doubts, walk away. All low-key know.
We have that intuition.
Like, what we want. And we know, like, this is going somewhere, or it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, as a young woman, like, I would say, really be patient and, like, always check your motives, because you're gonna
Check
have
your
to deal with it.
motives.
You're gonna have to deal with it at the end of the day. Like, you're the one that's gonna live the marriage. Like, no one's gonna be there with you. Like,
Right.
no one's gonna be there in the good and the bad. Like, sure, they could come and give you advice, but let's be real. Like, it's usually between you and the other person. Like, and I remember a pastor said, like, this was something that really got to me. He said that the devil would get you in marriage if he didn't get you during your youth. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Because I realized what he meant, right? Because like, already as Christians, yeah, it's hard enough to live a godly life every
Exactly,
day with
girl.
temptations and things like that. So
yeah,
like, you know yourself how it is. So imagine you're trying to live your best life, right? And you've just managed to succeed. Like, you've managed to live a good enough life, right? And the devil has failed you, right? He's failed. He's not managed. And now it becomes to that point where you have to make that life-changing decision. That's actually where the devil can literally come in and be like, that one's a good brother right there. You know what I mean? That's a good sister right there.
yeah.
And like, next thing you know, like, you go into something that you shouldn't have in the first place. The question you need to ask yourself, am I even ready?
Exactly.
Like, am I just
gems.
am I just lonely? Like, is it because my friend got married, I want to get married? Like, am I even ready? Like, let's be real, some of us aren't even ready for marriage.
Same. Anytime I get excited, I sit down with myself and I mess up. I'm just like, no, keep him far. Keep him far. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
You know, and I always tell myself that when he comes, that's when the right person comes, that's when you're ready, because God will not bring him too early or too late. So if he's not here yet, I'm not ready. Let me keep working on myself. And I think the young ladies need to heed to that. Go on.
Yeah, and I feel that's one thing you said that's important as well. You just know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've seen couples that are in love, like love,
yes.
you know, they have peace. Like, do you know what I mean? It's almost like, you just know, like, they're like, the girl knows that's my person, the guy knows that's my person as well. Do you know what I mean? They're at peace. Do you know what I mean? So for me, like, when I see that, I know, like, one day I'll have that too. So I'm not about to rush myself just because so and so said she get married. Because for me, to be real with you, like, when I read like Proverbs 31, because I know that's like the first every woman likes to refer to.
How many of us are meeting that standard? That's the question. Since you don't even have anything in your savings account. I'm talking to myself. Like, we have to get ourselves together. So when these people come, these brothers come, they know that they're not messing about with any, any sister, any woman.
Like, I read Proverbs 31. Like, I've read it before, but then a few months ago, like maybe 2 months ago or so, I read it again. And when you read something a second time, and it kind of hits you. Yeah. I read it, and I said, Naomi, you're not Proverbs 31. You're not Proverbs 31 at all. Yeah. When I read that, I realized that, oh my days, like, so a Proverbs 31 woman is supposed to be like hardworking. She's supposed to be someone
she's
that
on top of her game.
Literally, like, she was working on herself, her household. Her husband was even proud to show her off. Like, exactly. Respect.
Exactly.
Because he was married to her. So that was like a reality check for me. I was like, so I need to work on myself too in the time being. When people say like the waiting period, I'm like, sis, I hope you're not saying they're being pretty and actually waiting. Because like this is something that I realized like in the past few years or so, but it wasn't something that I realized beforehand. But it was something I noticed later on, that it's not about waiting. It's about getting yourself ready as well. Do you know what I mean?
Wow,
like working on yourself.
True. Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, if you're waiting, Proverbs 31 woman is not a waiter. She doesn't sit there and
she was on top of her game.
Exactly, constantly.
Thinking
so for
ahead.
me, when I saw that, I said, no, you need to get your act together. If I say I want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, I need to start behaving. I need to start get financially responsible and all that kind of stuff.
I really want to touch on financial independence because you have some women, single women who have this idea that they're waiting for this man to take care of them and cover their needs. They don't need to work, and which is good if that's what you want. But when you're single and until he comes, you got to pay your bills. So can you just touch on the importance of financial? I think I tweeted something yesterday. You liked it, like, women, have your own money, have your own money. Don't let anybody tell you it's different. Have your own money. Have your account. Have your savings. have something you are doing. Financial independence is a necessity for every human being. You don't want to be a liability, you want to be an asset. Please continue with the gems.